Golden Valley Police Chief Virgil Green stepped down from his post last week after a months-long investigation alleged that he'd committed misconduct. We sat down with him in the studio to hear his side of the story. Virgil, thanks for sitting down with us today. Appreciate it. I guess to start, we know you resigned last Friday. Can you tell me what went into that decision?
It was a lot. It was a tough decision to make, especially after being with the Golden Valley Police Department for a little over 3 years. Coming into the department, where there was a lot of uncertainty about the agency, and less than 18 months later, the department was right back on the track to become fully staffed, and so everything was headed in the right direction. And then all of a sudden, I was told that there was a second complaint that was filed, and that I was being put on paid administrative leave. And so, after, looking at everything that's happened over the past 4 months, both physically and mentally, it has definitely taken a toll on me and my family. And so I had a tough decision to make. Did I want to continue to fight this in court? And or did I just want to, just resign and walk away and leave in good standing? Because if you don't leave in good standing with the city of Golden Valley, you forfeit your earned PTO. And, after being here a little over 3.5 years, that's a considerable amount of money. And so, if that wasn't a factor, I probably would have made some other decisions to try to fight it, because this is something that I truly believe that I was definitely not treated right. But ultimately, made that decision to go ahead and resign, and hopefully that this does not impact any future opportunities, when I move back to Oklahoma to get another chief's position somewhere, not in Oklahoma or somewhere else in the country. So, sure.
And I wanted to give you a chance to respond to the allegations that were in the investigation. So I think to start, why don't we talk about what's your response to the claim that you interfered with an internal investigation?
That is absolutely not true, Kevin. I mean, I'm the first who will say I'll take responsibility for my actions. I've always said nobody is above the law, not even the police chief. And so if I did something wrong, I'm going to be the first to say, yeah, I did something wrong. But in the allegations that I intimidated people, that I undermined the investigation, never did anything like that. Never told, in the reports it states that I told a sergeant not to talk to the city attorney. I knew he had spoke to the city attorney, but I never, after finding that out, I never went to him and said, admonished him for talking to the city attorney. Never had a conversation with him about it. It was, to me, it was irrelevant. I mean, if the city attorney gave him what he needed, then that's fine. But to accuse me of undermining and intimidating people and doing kind of these backdoor deals that was not right. And I've got a lot of concern with that, just how fair the investigator that the city hired to conduct the investigation.
Sure. And then the other accusation in that investigation was related to body cam video and the investigation into the brass knuckles at Highview, right?
Yes.
I know you gave that footage to Channel 5. You also gave it to us. Can you speak to that decision, and why do you still believe that was the right one?
Yeah. So, a lot of thought went into that, about releasing that. And in the state statute, it says that if there is specific reasons that the police chief feels that video should be released, then here are the circumstances that you can release that. And there was a lot of rumors that the school district was not cooperating with the parents and letting the parents know. There were people who were thinking that the police department were covering things up. And so, when I looked at the video, we saw what was in the video. And I said, in order for full transparency, because there's a lot of people who have they have a trust issue with the police, that we're not being trustworthy. And so by releasing this and showing the parents, because there was a student who was seriously injured in that fight, who had to, receive stitches, who was diagnosed with having a concussion. So this wasn't just a normal little bathroom fight. She received some pretty significant injuries from this fight. And so, by releasing that portion of the body worn camera video footage to the public, showed just what the officers were dealing with when they went to the school. That no school officials turned over those brass knuckles, even though they knew that the brass knuckles were used in the fight.
Sure. And moving forward, are you considering any litigation with the city, or are you what's next for you?
Well, and so part of the agreement was that, in order for me to be able to leave in good standing and to be able to receive the PTO payout, that I would agree not to continue any further legal action against the city. You got 21 days to make that decision. So right now there's no plans to further litigate the city. But I think it's really important. What I want the public to know is that when you read these reports, it looks bad. It looks like, oh, well, you're undermining, you're intimidating people. Nobody never came to me and said, hey, I'm afraid of the chief doing this, because people know I'm the most easiest person to get along with. And but again, the investigation was definitely one-sided. When the city pays an outside investigator to conduct an investigation, she's working for the city. She's not working for me. He or she is going to do everything they can to show that you did something wrong versus showing that you didn't do anything wrong. And so one of the key things that came out of this, Kevin, was in my interview with her, she said 7 of my sergeants said that they heard me say that I was stopping the investigation. Never said that. What I said was, there's an investigation, didn't mention the nature of the investigation or who the investigation was about, was that we were going to keep it administratively internally until we found out more, and then we would let HR know moving forward. And so after that was real concerning, because she told my attorney, I believe these 7 sergeants, the chief is lying. It's a pretty hard pill to swallow when you know you're telling the truth. And so several weeks later, I actually did reach out to another sergeant, and he told me that that's not what, he was in a meeting, and he said, that's not what you said, chief. And he said exactly verbatim what I said. And so he was like, and nobody has even talked to me. So here's a sergeant who was saying that nobody has talked to him, but here's an investigator saying that all 7 sergeants who were in that room told her that I said that I was stopping the investigation. That should be concerning to the mayor, to the city council, to the public, as to why is one person saying that the chief didn't say something, but 3 other people or 4 other people are alleging that that's what was said. You've got some discrepancies that need to be worked out to get to the truth. And to me, it was just definitely a rush to judgment to say that I did something that was misconduct, that was grounds for the city manager to terminate my employment.
Sure. And it sounds like you're still hoping to stay in policing as you move forward.
I do. I'm still a young person. I'm not an old guy, even though I got gray hair. I think I still got a number of years ahead of me that I'm all about being a servant leader. And this is what being a police chief is about. And hopefully, there is a city out there, if they're ever looking for a police chief, that will look to see my experiences, but don't look at the things that have happened with Golden Valley to say that, you're not somebody that we would want to take a chance on, but here's your leadership style, and this is what you've done for this police department. Because, I don't think there's been a lot of police chiefs who can turn around a police department that got down to, single-digit number of police officers within 18 months. Here we are back 5 shy of being 31 sworn police officers. So, and I didn't do it by myself. I did it with, a good command staff and a good group of police officers and people who believed in coming to Golden Valley because it was a good agency to work for. But now I've got some concerns about just how honest some people are, because I've had people having conversations with the mayor. The city attorney is telling a sergeant, hey, call up the mayor and talk to the mayor. And then this sergeant is telling the mayor, Chief he's a nice guy, but we just don't really, he's not a good leader. And we really don't trust him. And we really don't trust the Assistant Chief, Alice White. Now you got the two highest ranking black officers in the department, but you've got a sergeant telling a mayor that you don't trust the two highest ranking black officers, administrators in the department. That's a concern. And what else is really going on that's motivating the chief to be put in this position? And the fact the officer who was in question for cheating on the exam didn't cheat on the exam. He still has his job, but the police chief is being forced out of the police chief position. So I think there's a lot that the public should be demanding and asking the city council, and where the city council could be asking the city manager, because the city manager reports to the city council. So there needs to be some accountability here, not just on my part, but on others who definitely it has come out that what was said in a meeting was not actually said, and they're alleging that was misconduct.
Sure. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with us and telling us your side of the story.
Yeah, and I appreciate you all. I think it's real important because, again, there's always two sides to the story. And I think, again, like I said before, if I did something wrong, I'll admit to it and take that responsibility. But if I didn't, then I think the truth needs to come out. And even though it's too late, I'm no longer the police chief, and I've heard that there's an interim chief getting ready to come in. There's still a lot of things that really need to be sorted out as to what led to this here and why some things happened. But definitely appreciate you all giving me this opportunity to come in and share my side of the story because, again, I just want the truth to come out.
Find more local news stories at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.